Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotivejt. So, as with any vehicle, I guess, there's going to be some things you really like, and after you have it for a while, some things that you really don't like. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What I don't like about my 2025 Jeep Gladiator. So, and let me preface this by saying I love the truck, but nothing's perfect, right? So let's jump right in. First of all, the hood. And this is kind of a pet peeve thing of mine, I guess. The hood does not lock. That means that any schmo can walk up here, undo the latches, pop over the clasp here, the emergency holder, and have full access under your hood. Now, you might be thinking, well, gee, that's not a big deal. So what? What are they going to do? Well, in this world, about anything they want. They can start chopping up wires. They can pour junk on your engines. I've seen people break eggs on engines before so that when people are driving, they start to cook and then they burn and then they stink and they think it's funny. I don't think it's funny. What about that battery under there? You know, these days, that big old giant battery, and I'm not talking about the auxiliary battery, we're going to get to that one. I'm talking about the big battery under the hood. Let's say somebody's got a Jeep Gladiator. They're pretty popular. There's a lot of them out there right now, and their battery is starting to fail. Well, why go buy a new one? You don't have to. You just go find another Jeep Gladiator with no hood lock, pop the hood, undo the wires, lift it out. You do have to take off the bracket, and you've got yourself probably a better battery than what you had before. I really do think it should have some sort of OEM locking mechanism to keep people, nefarious people, from jumping under your hood. Number two, the window controls. You know, I've talked about this before, and honestly, I'm still really not used to it. I'm talking about the window controls. Where are they? They're not here. Like every other vehicle out there for the most part, right? They're over here. They're in the center. I never can get used to that. And just recently, I had a couple people in the back with me, and they were going nuts trying to figure out how to put the window down. I was actually at a drive-through, and I was going to have the drive-through person, the worker, hand the food or whatever to the back because we didn't have room for the front. It was a lot of food. We had a lot of people. But anyway, they could not figure out how to put the window down. And by the time I figured it out, it was too late. I was already at the window, right? Of course, like the front, the window controls are here in the center. I mean, I guess Jeep does that so that there's some kind of uniformity throughout the truck so that everybody knows where the controls are. I don't know. But I think they need to be over here in the door somewhere. I mean, they could be anywhere, right? And an argument I've heard people make about why they're not there is because you can remove the doors. Well, so what? We have these two controls here. We have this control up here. What's another 2 wires, I guess, coming through the bundle? There's plenty of room in there to run a couple more wires up here to a switch to be able to go ahead and have those switches on the doors. Now, I know not everybody is going to agree with me, that they're going to think that's pretty petty, and that's okay. It's just one of the things I don't like about the 2025 Jeep Gladiator, or honestly any Jeep. They all come that way, right? Next up, and this one's just horrid to me, auto stop. It's nothing new. It's certainly nothing that I've never talked about before. But we have the dreaded auto stop, which, by the way, is supposed to be going away with the new government that we have. But anyway, there is a button, of course. It's right here. I'm sure you've seen it. You can push the button to deactivate it every freaking time you restart the truck. Why, at the least, does it not have a button that you can push so that it always defaults to off? Other cars have that. I was in one just a few years ago, and they had a button that once you push it, it remembers that you pushed it, and it stayed off the whole time. Now, there are wired devices out there that you can get. It plugs in between that switch and the factory wiring that tells the truck to remember the last setting. So, if you push the button to have it off, it will always stay off until you hit the button again to reactivate it, I guess. Why should we even have to do that? I mean, if it's legal to buy those devices to defeat the function, then why in the hell can't the factory at least set it up that way themselves? Now, I mentioned about it going away. I believe it's been announced, I think, that the current government, not to get political, is getting rid of that requirement because it is, I guess, some sort of government-tied requirement for emissions control. And most likely one of the ways that Jeep or other manufacturers choose to conform and set it up, but that's going to be going away, or so I hear. Next up, and this is something I've done myself, and I had to do it, side steps. The Jeep has side steps on it. Now, they are functional, and Jeeps are nice and big and wide, and they do work really, really well, right? But I hate the aesthetic of them, the looks of them. To me, it just makes it look stuffy and old. I don't know. I said I had to do it. I did. My wife, and she drives the Gladiator a lot, so I guess, you know, she needs to get what she wants. But anyway, I had to put them on because that's what she wanted. These are the specific type that she wanted, so I can't even go with anything that might look a little bit sportier, right? I don't like them. Again, it is something that I did, but I would prefer not to have them. And I do know some of the Gladiators come with them stock. These are the Mopar or OEM version. Next, the fuel economy. It sucks. 14.5 miles per gallon. That's what I'm getting right now. Now, it is relatively new, and I haven't really changed anything on it to warrant such crappy gas mileage. Other than, I guess, a bed mat, the side steps, the hood struts, the cold air intake. I mean, none of that stuff is really going to hurt my fuel economy. And honestly, it's been that bad ever since I bought the thing. So it's just the way that it is. I don't know how they're able to advertise the numbers that they do and get away with it, because to me, it's just deceptive. And I don't drive with a heavy foot. It's just the way that it is, right? Who knows? The next one, and this might have something to do with that poor fuel economy, are the wheels and tires. For some reason on this trim, the Nighthawk edition, I guess, or Nighthawk trim, they put on 20-inch wheels and tires. 20-inch wheels and tires on a Jeep Gladiator. Why? Why do we need these? It just reduces the tread wall or the sidewall, makes the rough, or the ride rather, firmer, which I've heard it's because they want it to be more of a pavement ride, more of a freeway driver. But it's a Jeep. Isn't it supposed to be an off-road king? Instead, it's a pavement queen. Why do we have these? Why do I still have them on the truck, I guess, is the big question. And the answer to that is because the wife and I can't come to agreement as to what we want to put on. Now, what I think I'm going to do at the moment, or we're going to do, is put on 18s. I think 18-inch wheels with probably Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws, I think, is the plan at the moment. That's assuming you can still get them. I know they've kind of phased those out. It's now an AT4W, which is not as good as the BF Goodrich KO3s, in my opinion. And I know that because I actually have them on the Tacoma sitting out there. And in the reviews and things that I had read, they all agreed as well that the KO3s were a little bit better tire. Who knows? I can't speak to the AT4Ws because I haven't had them. Maybe we'll go that route. I've always had great luck with the Falcon Wild Peaks in the past, so we'll see. And it would be interesting to compare them between the Tacoma and the Gladiator going forward. Anyway, those are just 6 things, I guess, that I really don't like about the 25 Jeep Gladiator. Leave a comment, let me know. If you've got one, anything you don't like, I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.